So my entire house smelled like poop as well. It was very pleasant. And I think because of that we lit a candle, but the candle made my living room very warm. Anyway, door is open, candle is out. Let's go ahead and watch some pretty high level PvT. These guys, I think very close to 6,000 MMR, maybe a bit higher, maybe a bit lower. They're asking me if I'm ready. I am ready. I know very little about Replicant, other than the fact that I think he's damn good. Whenever I watch him, he's a really good player. He just doesn't play on this account. But he did play in the regionals, and we saw him have a couple of decent runs. We saw him have some good games. Russian Art, for the second time ever, a 17-year-old kid from Novosibirsk. Seems to be very nice overall. Just excited to play Starcraft. He's mega active. And he was also very happy with the second Big Brain Bouts invite. Gave me a whole speech about how grateful he was. That always warms my heart a little. Let's do it. PvT. I'm gonna kick things off on site Delta.
Let's get it on. Round 1. Fight.
Top left side, a Russian Protoss player, 17 years old, playing from Siberia. This is Russian Art, not to be confused with Polish Art, who's also a Protoss player and is also damn good. Polish Art is in his mid-20s though, 26 I believe he is. And in the bottom right side, we welcome for the first time ever a player from Kazakhstan, someone who's been around for a long time, bit of a mystery. I think there are even a lot of good players in Europe that are not that familiar with him, but I've played him in the past, I know he's good, and whenever it's time for the European qualifiers, for the spring regionals, winter regionals, whenever, we always see his name pop up. So I thought, why not invite him once to the BBB and see if we can put on a bit of a show and perhaps become a bit more well known to the average viewer. This is a Replicant. He's good, Kitten Jedi. A long time ago, I remember I played a game on Babylon. I was playing a barcode Terran. And I felt I played really well, and I thought I had him like 2-3 times. And this was the time that I was playing a lot of ladder, and I thought I was pretty good as well. And in the end, I got bopped in like a 35-minute game. His late game was just really good. And I was kind of fuming. I was like, so who the hell was this? Who is this barcode? And then we looked it up, and they're like, oh, Roddy, that's Replicant. And I'm like, who? Who? You know, I was expecting like some famous name, one of the big boys of the European scene. They're like, Replicant. And I was like, what does that even mean? That was the day that I became familiar with him. I never really forgot about it, and it's good to see that he's still playing and he's still active. You love the name? His name makes me think of that Starcraft unit that unfortunately never really made it into the big leagues. But there was a BlizzCon where Blizzard showed us a hype trailer of 3-4 new units that we're going to add into the game. And one of those units was the Replicant. A Protoss unit that could morph into any enemy unit. So you could be Protoss, make replicants, and then if you would see tanks, your replicants could become tanks. So you could play Protoss with siege tanks from Terran. I actually thought it was very cool, and I really wish they would have just let it enter the game, but for some reason they cancelled it right before it even went live. I honestly thought that that could have made for some very fun and interesting scenarios, but Blizzard was not a fan of their own creation, so they cancelled it. They cut it. Yep, that was also the same time as the Shredder. That is correct. And there was another unit. So there was the Shredder, and then there was that unit that had the little catapult. I forgot the name of that one. Terran had two really cool units, and Protoss got the Replicant. And no, this was not April Fools. These were actually all real units that Blizzard planned on making. And in the end, they all just scrapped them. Because they were afraid they were not going to be used that much in competitive play. And I really don't see a problem with that. Like, I would love to have a bunch of units that don't make it into competitive play. Like, who cares? Let us plebs have fun with random units, even if they are not that viable at the highest level of esport. Like, who cares about that? But yeah. It's an interesting opening here, as we have some sort of a 3-racks, but normally if you 3-racks, you build a lot of Marauders first, you get a reactor, excuse me, a lot of Marines, and then later on you add a couple of Marauders. Replicant went for the very quick Marauder version, and then he's just waiting. Yeah, the Herc, that's the name. So you had the Herc, you had the Shredder, and you had the Replicant. 3 really cool units, at least based on the videos that we saw, and that all just got cancelled. And instead we got the Cyclone Adept and the Lurker. I think that was much later that we got the Adept instead. Or maybe I don't know. Never really know about the timeline of things. Adepts are cool though, and Adepts definitely have a place because Protoss has a lack of scouting. Even if they fixed it a little bit, right, with all the tweaks to the sentries and whatnot. I would have loved to see all those units just make it into the game. And who cares if they are used a lot or not by the likes of Clem and MaxPax. Would have been fun for us. I'm sure that the video is still online on YouTube. So if you guys are curious about it, you just type in the Herc, the Shredder, the Replicant, and you can see it on YouTube. Art obviously scouted the opening of his opponent with that Adept. He saw those Moronas, he saw the quick tech lab as well, but that hasn't scared him crazy much, other than the fact that he's building double battery at the third. And he just says, I don't think you're moving out, at least not immediately. Super random missile turret by Replicant gets the kill. Can't even blame Art for losing that observer. You know, if you randomly click an observer 7 minutes into a Terran base, I think it's a bit sloppy if you miss it. And if you lose it to a Raven or to a turret that's in a mineral line. Losing this observer I can't blame him for. Because what the hell is this turret? Art is obviously going to be economically in a pretty fine spot. Because he's already on 3 bases. His opponent is on 2. Hasn't built a command center yet. This army packs a punch. But an Immortal, a Sentry, maybe with a Guardian Shield, a couple Blink Stalkers. Be big. Do think that Art maybe should have moved his Stalkers out a bit more. Like, Stalkers are not the kind of unit that can just sit at home forever and then you rely on your Blink Stalker micro. This is the Goody turret. Yeah. But Replicant is a slightly better player than Goody. Gonna drop the third CC on location. Art's still just making ups and he's got a bunch of gateways coming online. Sometimes it's hard to keep track. So we're going up to 6 gates by the looks of it. Slow start to our second best of 5, but I have the feeling that all hell is about to break loose. Both players have potential. Replicant's got a big old army though, 60 army supply, guys. And the Zealots will not have charge yet. Battery overcharge gets dropped, but the Immortal gets picked off immediately. The Terran army is really powerful here as he's going to stim forward. He's going to gun down the battery with overcharge. I think Art should be fine if he keeps on warping in units. He's going to have to micro bow, and he is fine in the end. Thank the Lord for battery overcharge and an Immortal. Replicant trying to show off some micro here, but too many Protoss units in the end. Nice hold by Art. There is a world where you really mess it up and you just straight up dead. No, I would say that he's kind of ahead. It looked scary for a split second, but the fact that the Replicant had to go for that overcharge battery and then a couple slow Zealots, even without charge, are still going to be tanky. And Art says, alright mate, you just threw away a solid 40 army supply. Now it's my turn. There are some Widow Mines here. 2 Widow Mines will fire at the 2 Zealots. Rest of the army of Art is pretty big. War Prism is going to sneak into the main. He is working with a bunch of gases. He doesn't really have to end the game here, but he's waiting for his supply block, mate. Supply block for a split second, so he's going to give his opponent the heads up that the War Prism is there. Oh, War Prism is now going to siege up, and the Marines of Replicant stimmed all the way to the bottom. Kills it. Yeah, Replicant is fine. But he doesn't really have a great answer for the Colossus. What he does have is 1-1 on the bio. Meanwhile, Art has a 0-0. Stalkers are going to be stuck here for a little bit. Thank the Lord for the pylon on the high ground. Colossus count is 1. Zealot count is 17. That's a serious number, but there are 8 Widow Mines in the mix. Adventurous forward blink here by the young man from Russia as he's going to try to battle these Widow Mines with the Colossus. This should be an alright fight. Widow Mine connections are pretty damn sweet though. I've done a lot of splash damage. There are more Widow Mines that burrow. I would say that was a victory for Replicant. But maybe Art says, as long as I don't lose my probes, as long as I don't lose the Colossus, everything is going to be a victory for me. I can maybe see where he's coming from, but work accounts are very, very close at the moment. Terran Armory is online. Replicant, again, a confident man, dropping a 4th command center on location. The Colossus are going to be an issue. The Viking count is very low. I think he's got 2 Vikings out at the moment that just popped, but they're not quite here yet. Another forward blink, Zealous leading the charge. Seems that these two are a very good match for each other. That bodes well for the rest of this series. Replicant up in supply, but defending this base I think is maybe with all the reinforcements we borrow a few more Widow Mines. Art does not want to commit because he doesn't have a prism there. I think that's actually kind of smart. Your cannon rush had a lot of potential, Bamas. I actually thought that if you would have been able to either cancel that cannon that you lost against the probes, or you would have been able to keep your probes alive a tiny bit longer, I think that cannon rush could have worked too. You played well, mate. You played well. I am eager for more Baumas Baum in the future. Art is going to crank out 2 disruptors at a time as the double Robo is online and the Robo Bay finished off obviously a long time ago. We even have extended thermal lens already. Meanwhile, Replicant, his macro is looking clean. He's on 74 SCVs, very little supply blocks. He's got a bunch of missile turrets. He's building Vikings. He's adding Ghost. Both players, I think, are in a comfortable spot. And now it just comes down to who executes better. Also getting double sensor tower, which I think is very smart. Sensor tower reveals the fact that the Protoss army is here. A Replicant is throwing down a scan in the center, maybe wondering if there is an observer. 2-2 upgrades about to finish up. Can he land an EMP? Can he flank? Lands an EMP. The Disruptors though. Replicant goes full cuckoo on us. Stims forward, guns down both Disruptors, and he's going to absolutely annihilate this Protoss army. Sick EMPs, perfect engagement. There are some Zealots in the main. There are some Zealots in the third base. So that is a problem. But hey, if you kill Disruptors like that and you kill Colossus like that, how big of a problem are a couple Zealots? Actually, sick fight. Supply is still very close to each other, but I think after resetting the entire Robo unit count, or at least almost the entire Robo unit count, Replicant had a lot to celebrate there in the beginning of that massive fight. Maybe in the end, it is Art who's kind of laughing and says, you know what? My Zealots bought a lot of time, did some economic damage. I'm not mega upset yet. And there are no 3-3 upgrades on the way for the Terran. Art is currently still, he has double force actually. Did fire up +1 armor and that one is done. He's adding another Robo. The Vikings are not going to be super useful against an army of 16 Stalkers and 6 Disruptors. Not even sneaking in the hidden Nexus all the way in the bottom left side. Fusion Core has been dropped on the side of Replicant, as the Liberator count is going up as well. He's got 2 at the moment. He's building 2-3 at a time. Art, like any real Protoss, has snuck in the Dark Shrine once he's a 4-base player. That's a good scan, by the way, as it reveals the Observer, but it also reveals the DT. Art is still willing to take a fight here. A very different army right now, where the man was very heavy on the Zealots earlier, and obviously relied on the combination of Zealots and Colossus. We are now playing a completely different game. This is not the kind of army that can ever stand there and fight, but it is very good in poking and prodding, getting in and out of range, firing a couple of Disruptors at a time. Are these DTs? Yes, these are DTs, but we have a missile turret. Good job, by the way, by Art staying out of range of the circle. This game is about to get pretty wild. This Art says, you know what, let's go ahead and see what I can do. But Stalker Disruptor is a terrible base trade army. This, I think, is a very good base trade army. We have even landed the Vikings. However, the Liberators didn't siege up immediately, so the Stalkers do kind of get into the main. This is a bizarre game. A serious contender for Game of the Night, but I am unfortunately not Dana White, and I cannot raise the price for Game of the Night, but this is chaos. Absolute chaos. 118 army supply each. Who's getting the best of who? A Disruptor from downtown, but the Replicant pays attention, as he's gonna avoid that one as well. Misses the EMP on the DTs, but he lands the second one. Knows about these Disruptors. Gonna stim forward, get those as well. Meanwhile, his main, his natural, his third, all in shambles. I'm gonna have to defend this planetary, I think. He says, no, we don't, brother. I'm just gonna walk into the main and natural of the Protoss. He doesn't know about the hidden base. +3, how far along is that? That is going to finish up. Maybe the Stalkers should have gone for that. 10 seconds away, guys. Stalkers will see the Liberator, get the Liberator, but +3 is done. Actually, it could become massive. That could become very, very big. Art is +3 though, is not going to finish up. Unless we somehow ignore the forge, but we won't. +2 armor does finish up in the very back of the base. So what a game. What a game between our 17-year-old from Russia and the Kazakhstani Terran who's playing in the Big Brain Bouts for the first time ever. Probably thinks at this point, hey, I've taken out every single Nexus, so my opponent is going to be revealed. Not the case. We have the hidden base in the bottom left side. We have another base finishing up on the bottom side. The DTs are being annoying. We need to land an EMP here, mate. He still has 2 orbitals too, by the way. We're gonna land an EMP instead. Protoss army is 6 Disruptors, 27 Stalkers. I think it truly comes down to these Novas. And what we all wonder is, how fast are these balls then?
Oh my, how fast are those balls? What?
We're about to find out, Yona. They are very fast on some maps, but not on all. Replicant has kind of lost track of this army, by the way. He's gonna see it show up right now. Liberators are very useful in situations like this, and they do not have advanced ballistics. We did have a fusion core, by the way. Advanced ballistics obviously got nerfed in this patch. Will the Stalkers go for it? I feel like he really wants to. He sees the Liberators move right now. That could be the forward blink, but it's near a planetary, and you cannot really forward blink near a planetary. It's actually a great game between these two. Another Nova. 2 Novas have gone forward. Missile turret gets taken out. As Replicant is now going to rebuild all those depots that he lost in his main, in his natural. He's going to land this orbital, so he can spam a few more mules in the top right side, or call down for depot. Actually a decent plan as well. The only sad thing for Replicant is that he doesn't know that Art had that hidden base in the bottom left side. He did see the base at 6 o'clock going up, I think with his floating orbital, but he probably thinks that that is it. And he may just read this game right now. It's like, I'm mining, you're not mining, so I'm fine for now. Oh, that's a massive stim. Replicant needs to slow down on these stims. 4-man only has 4 medevacs, and they're working overtime when the entire army is stimming. Art is no longer supply blocked, so he can actually start spending his money. And he has just snuck in a probe back into the main, so he doesn't even have to rebuild all these gateways. I think Art is actually winning at this point, mostly because of the hidden base. And I can't even really blame Replicant for anything he's been doing, because I think his read on the situation was correct, and I think he's done a lot of things correct. He just didn't know about that base in the bottom left. He's thinking about stimming forward here and getting on top of these disruptors, but it's 6 disruptors in total, and it's so hard to get on top of 6 disruptors. I think your army is a little too low in HP. The young man from Russia has done a very good job in finding that orbital in the main, sneaking a Zealot back into the main just to see what's happening over there. How's Replicant is stacked? He had to start all over again. He's currently rebuilding his factory, and after the factory is done, he can start building a starport. Then he can make a few medevacs or liberators, but it's gonna take a little while. 19-minute opening game between these two. And this time around the planetary will fall. Replicant feels that he can't really defend it anymore. And he's not wrong, because he just can't stim. And if you can't stim, you can't fight. Meanwhile, the Robo is back. The Robo Bay, maybe it was always alive. Yeah, it's actually so nice for Art that a lot of his buildings in the main survived. So he didn't have to rebuild all these gateways. All he had to do was repower them. And he didn't even have to rebuild the Robo Bay. A 3 HP Viking finds the Warp Prism. Stalkers have blinked forward. That maybe means that this is the moment that the Marauders and Marines want to take that fight. You can see that Replicant was thinking about it. Can't quite do it. Pain, It's a little bit painful if you're Replicant right now. You're like, man, how the hell do you suddenly have so much? Or why does it feel like you're getting more and more, even though you're bleeding out units, and all the units are gonna stim? At this point, they're so low on HP, guys. These medevacs need a race. The medevacs have been working overtime for the longest time, and they just cannot keep up, healing up all these Marines and Marauders that just keep on stimming, trying to protect the infrastructure. The barracks have lifted up. Maybe this is the moment where we could go for it. If he was full on HP, I think he could have. At this point, you just can't. The micro's been really good. He does not allow any of these disruptor shots to connect. He's actually killed one. But Replicant is kind of killing himself slowly. Has lost 2 out of the 4 medevacs. He's now trying to sneak out a tank. That would actually be a super useful unit near the planetary. The Orbitor is very low on HP. Is going to maybe land one more time in the main. We can float it into the corner. Tank is out. Tank is going to siege up. The army is so low on HP. The Disruptors this time around. And they will connect. Not enough medevacs to pick up all these units anymore. The tank falls. The Vikings are not going to win this fight. And it's just the planetary that is left. Replicant probably won this. Where did this go wrong? I thought I was playing well. And then you take a look at the replay and you realize that your opponent didn't just have the bottom left, but has mined out more than half of the available resources. An excellent start to our second best of 5 of the night. It's a Russian Art who takes the 1-0 lead. But I think there is still a whole lot to play for. That was actually a really good game. Hello, Mark. Fun start to our second best of 5. It's one of these games where I don't even think I can really blame a Replicant for a whole lot that he did. I like this first move out. I like this build. I like some of the fights that he took. I think even the base trade scenario was alright. The only thing we could say is that obviously he should have checked if there was something happening in the bottom left side of the map. And this was actually a sick game. Curious to see how the rest of the series is going to play out. SR Fireball, 12 months, 1 year anniversary. Vamos! You're not looking forward to Roddy roasting on us during the cast? I didn't do that at all. I'm very nice during the Big Brain Bouts, Guitar King. The only moment that I thought was a little painful was on Crimson Court, and I do understand it. There was so much chaos with DTs in the main, natural, third, and they were killing your 4th base. But when you had that shield battery standing next to it, and you just didn't heal your Nexus forever. That was a little painful, but I did not roast you. I just think that the series was very confusing. Because obviously your opponent played crazy, weird builds, and then it's hard to have a good read on the situation. So can't blame you for much, mate. I had a good time watching your games. And I was kind and generous and sweet.
Round 2, fight!
On bottom right side of Oceanborn, taking the 1-0 lead after a pretty bonkers game on site at Delta. Has a perfect record in the Big Brain Bouts. I think this is the 2nd time ever that we have invited him. The first time he won. Can he get the perfect 2-0? This is a Russian Art. And I will keep calling him Russian Art from time to time. Because it's just mega confusing when there are 2 arts that both play Protoss and are both very good. Top left side for the first time ever, but I think leaving an excellent impression on us. Really good build, nice micro, good decision making. I think he played a fun game. Hailing from Kazakhstan, representing HTT. That is the old team of Shameless. It's a Replicant. Shout out to the Fun Machine as well for the 2 months. That's what I identify as, mate. People ask me, Roddy, what are you? Who are you? I say that I'm a fun machine. We played against Platinum Esports in the WTL, and I told my team that this is the Russian Art and not the Polish Art. They were all confused. There are 2 arts. Yeah, for a while I was confused too. I thought people were trolling me. And then I realized, like, wait a minute. This doesn't make sense. I thought he was Polish. And they're like, yes, there is a Polish one. There's also a Russian one. I was like, nah. Did he move? They're like, nope. 2 of them. Yes, I think all caps lock is the Russian one. And the one with 2 lowercase and 1 caps lock is Polish Art. The main reason that I keep them separated right now is that I know that there was a time they were both on Platinum, by the way. That was absolutely ridiculous. I don't think I guess this is the economy or the academy team, right? Yeah, they still are. I think one of them is on the academy team of Platinum Heroes, which is called Platinum Esports, and then the other one is actually on the Platinum Heroes. But now it's easier for me to keep them separated because I just know that one is a whole lot older, and the youngster is living in Novosibirsk, which I think is kind of fascinating because we don't see a lot of gamers from Siberia. When I was a young boy, I had a Warcraft 3 leather account called Novosibirsk because I thought it sounded cool. So now I have a very easy time in keeping them separated from each other. They both play Protoss, yeah. You want them to play against each other? I actually wanted to make it happen, but I cannot do that right now. Polish Art is on a holiday for a couple weeks. He said, Roddy, I'd love to play, but I'm just not available in the next 2 weeks. But if you ping me in 3 weeks, I'm ready. And hey, if this young man keeps on winning, it might actually be time to have Art against Art in the BASILISK Big Brain Bouts. That may even be main event worthy. Very different opening this time around by the man from Kazakhstan, as he's gone for the reactor on the factory, quick Hellions. So he's opening up 4 Hellions into a third base. This is a very adventurous opening, and it's definitely not the kind of opening where you want to see an Adept Shade into your main and give your opponent a heads up that this is your build. Because if a Protoss executes 4-gate Blinkstalker properly, the game is over. You're just not going to have any tanks for the longest time. You're just not really going to have a whole lot of units. At this point, I don't think that a Russian Art is too focused on finding damage on the other side of the map. He just wants to make sure he doesn't take any damage at home. 4 Hellions could still YOLO in, and it seems that is exactly what the Replicant is going to do. He says, shield battery, no shield battery, I don't care. I know I can one-shot Workers, and he can still one-shot Workers. Now he can no longer one-shot Workers, but A7 is pretty damn good. You know, in Starcraft 2, you don't want to second-guess yourself too much. If you've gone for an opening that needs to do damage, don't get scared just because you see a couple units. Like, yeah, you're often going to see units. Every now and then, you gotta close your eyes and just freaking send it. And that was worth it. Yes, yes. We can make all the Slim Shady jokes. Will the real Art please stand up? They're both very nice as well, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, enough about Art and Art. We know that our youngster, the Red Protoss here, does like to open it up with Colossus. This time around, seems that he's not mega eager to drop that Robo Bay. He's staying on 2 gases, going up to 3 bases. He fires up charge, might still get it a bit later. The saddest thing here, though, is that he's got no idea about the follow-up. This is the first time that he actually knows this was a triple CC opening. At this point, he may be like, ah, damn it. So I lost 7 probes and you went triple CC? The answer to the question is yes. That doesn't mean it's game over, but that would scare me. Because I think at this point you know that the Terran is going to show up with a pretty large army. And you're just not going to have enough units on your side. Good vision there by Replicant as he saw the shimmer of the Observer, throws down a scan, kills that one too. He's kind of cooking. Not a whole lot that these Stalkers can do here. Maybe an SCV that's building a depot, or maybe you can chip away at a depot, but with the tank count currently being 2, 1 tank in the main, 1 in the natural, but we have 15 Marines, 2 Marauders. In this phase in the game, this is all about macroing. We've got the random turret again too. Ooh, that tank shot was mega close to going off. You could see the tank like doing its animation, ready to fire, and then it didn't fire. It would have been a Stalker kill. Art without a forge at the moment is thinking of maybe creating some chaos, like A-moving with Zealot Stalker in the 3rd and then sending a Prism into the main, but I don't think this is the kind of game for it. I feel like we either need to drop a Templar Archives or a Robobay real quick. Otherwise this game is not going to have a happy ending. At this point I would really hate to be the Protoss. And he says, alright, whenever you hate anything, Roddy, follow my steps, build a dark shrine, and everything is gonna be okay. Don't know about that, because his opponent already has a bunch of turrets. But Replicant is really good. I'm actually like legit impressed so far by everything that I've seen. I knew he was good, but I thought maybe it's one of these moments where he used to be very good and now he's not playing that much anymore. But even if he's down 0-1, I like almost everything that I've seen in these first 30 minutes of video gaming. I think this is going to be a very tough series for the 17-year-old from Russia. Warp Prism does sneak into the very back of the main. 2 Marines, not quite enough DPS to kill it immediately, but still in time. Only 3 Zealots actually in the end made it out. That kind of ruins the whole game plan, right, of Art, who was hoping for a big old Zealot weapon in the main. And then make some magic happen at the third. It might even be a blessing in disguise that if he would have gone for it, this would have been a terrible fight. Whatever he had in mind is not going to work. It will go up to 4 bases, drops the second Robo in the Robo Bay. Dark Shrine is done, warping in 5 DTs. It's a lot of DTs. Wait, what? So where are they? We're just YOLOing 5 DTs? There is a turret in... I mean, there's turrets everywhere, no? There's like 4 turrets. And Replicant was already very good in spotting observers earlier. He's apparently very good in spotting DTs as well. Now you can always throw down another turret, and that's exactly what he's going to do. I think Art is in a lot of trouble. The decision of going for Disruptors here, I think, is smart, because if he would have gone for Colossus, that just takes too long. We do have Scan going down immediately. Ooh, tanks dealing a lot of splash damage there, but SCVs survive. This Terran army is big, powerful, nice force field. Mind your step, mind your gap. Couple Marines sneak through. I think Replicant has game-ending potential here, but it obviously all comes down to not taking a bad fight in range of a battery, overcharging Guardian Shield, fires a Purification Nova, connects with the Widow Mine. Only 1 mine remaining. The Zealots without any armor upgrades, thinking of ambushing this army. But I think the Terran army is better than your army. We are waiting for Disruptor number 3 and 4. Here comes number 3, and the other 2 are going to be able to fire again in the near future. Replicant does need to be careful that he doesn't get too carried away with all these stims. If anyone ever had to get the medevac upgrade, I think it's our boy Replicant. Throws down a scan, sees the 101 army supply of his opponent. Medevac count is 6. We're rallying everything that we have. He has built a couple of Vikings blindly. That's useful against the Prism, not very useful against Disruptors. He's gonna go for a big old stimmy. He's gonna get surrounded by Disruptors though. Disruptor on the right side does not go off. And now he keeps on stimming. There's another one from the main. Oh, and he gets that one too. The Replicant says, "Cuckoo, get out of here, mate. This is how you do it. Even if I don't know that they're there, I'll keep on stimming." I have never seen a man stim this many times. But I still like what he's doing. This entire army is like 1 or 2 shots away from dying. And in the end, he gets out of there with 5 medevacs. Maybe a recall here, Art. I think a recall would have been sick, and he does go for the recall. Replicant still enjoying a worker lead. Leaves only a couple of units behind. A couple of those low HP Marines end up dying. And now he says, you know what? I'll just go back, drop into the main. I don't care that my units have no HP. I see straight Disruptors here. I believe I can drop on top of those. I'm turning into a bit of a Replicant fan. He's a very fun player, and he's just so damn good. I expected something. I did not expect this much. After 11 minutes and 11 seconds, our man from Kazakhstan ties things up. Like, how the hell is this guy this unknown? He's actually really good. Lots of respect. He is. His macro is clean. His decision making in the heat of the moment is awesome. He's very good in spotting observers, DTs. He's a bit of a beast, Mark. I mean, at what point does Europe end, though? I don't know if we can really consider him a European Terran. Like, Kazakhstan is a whole lot closer to Beijing than it is to Amsterdam. So, I think he's just an Asian Terran. Why the hell do I have 98 messages? My Dutch friends are going crazy. Yeah, he did. He is eligible to play in the European Spring Regionals. Does Kazakhstan, can they qualify, guys, for... Let's see what football does. I'm pretty certain that the national football of the or squad of Kazakhstan plays in the Asia Cup and not in the European Championships of football, but national football team. Let me take a look. Wait, no, they do. He counts as Europe. In Starcraft, he counts as Europe, and apparently in football, they count as European as well. Wait, isn't Kazakhstan like mega far away? Oh. You say it's partially in Europe? Like this part? Like Kazakhstan's so big, by the way. What the hell? It's even bigger than Mongolia. I guess like... Yeah. Alright. We'll take it. The man is a European Terran. Not in the Eurovision Song Festival. Well, we can't take that serious. We care what ESL decides. And we care what the UEFA decides. You think 5 or 15% of Kazakhstan is in Europe? Good enough. Fun best of 5 so far. An excellent best of 5. I think one of the better second matches of the night that we've had for a little while. So far, not a single 3-0 night either in this crazy month of Starcraft. But of course, the main focus is going to be on the Spring Regionals. But we'll still try to bring you Big Brain Bouts entertainment too. And so far, this has been a fun night.
Round 3. Fight.
Top right side of Alcyone, we are looking at the main base of the 17-year-old man who's also not quite living in what we normally would say is Europe, as he is hailing from Novosibirsk. But hey, that also qualifies. It's ART. And he's playing against a friend of his for the first time ever, making his debut in the BASILISK Big Brain Bouts. And after watching this performance, honestly, I should be ashamed for not asking him earlier. Why did I never invite this young man? I believe he's still somewhat young. Playing a great series so far. Our Kazakhstani Terran, a Replicant. Shout out to Chicano, by the way, for the tier 2 sub. 6 months in total. I appreciate it, mate. Vamos. Tier 2 is now the cheat code to get higher up in the Discord. We have like, I think a grand total of 8 tier 2 subbies. Which I think is cool. And I think only 2 or 3 of them actually joined my Discord, so you'll be way up. I want to change my own role in Discord, but I can't. Because I'm not the one who started my Discord server a very long time ago. And when I made the Discord server, I told my friends, like, yeah, call me the Notorious, because I think that's awesome. Because I thought Notorious B.I.G. was cool, and a very big Conor McGregor fan back then, like 6-7 years ago. And now when I see myself on top of my own Discord as the Notorious, it's not a word I use very often, but I think it's a bit cringe. I want to change my name, but I don't have the power. I have to ask my friend and see if he can help me out. We have a Reaper fast expand into a maybe not a 3 racks. I believe that this young man likes the 3 racks. Nope, not this time. Head gas for the factory, drops the factory. So we've also had 3 completely different openings so far. The only thing that he kind of did in game 1 and game 2 is a relatively quick third base. But obviously the one in game 2 was a whole lot quicker than the one he had in game 1. We know Replicant loves bio. We know that he loves stimming. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's all, I'd say, pretty common across the Terran board. I'll take a look at it after this game, Komachi. I had the feeling that they did play in the European football qualifiers, but it was one of these things that I didn't want to say out loud because then I was like, I'm kind of dumb. So far away. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But apparently enough. I obviously did know that he played in the European regionals, because we mentioned that when he played against Fjand. I believe I watched one or two of his other games too. He might actually be like the best unknown player. I know that's very high praise, because a lot of people will say like, oh, but this guy is not that known, or that guy is not that known, but I feel even the most die-hard avid StarCraft 2 viewer may not be that familiar with Replicant. Like, why would you? You never really see him in any tournament. Only if you pay very close attention to the European qualifiers. He's just damn good. Art is scouting with his adept on the other side of the map as the Reaper is scouting on the side of our Terran, but there are batteries everywhere. Art has gone to the Roddy school of Protoss by the looks of it. You don't want to multitask, mate. You don't want to worry about losing probes. Battery in the main, battery in the natural, no biggie. Or perhaps a little traumatized from those aliens YOLOing in. A blind battery in your main is in general not a great move, because this actually works against you, against the Widowmine drop. And guess what? The one time that the man builds a battery in his own mineral line, he is gonna get Widowmine drop. I can ask them, by the way, Mark, after this game. I was thinking the same question earlier. I was like, maybe Replicant plays a lot on like the Korea server, and that's why we don't see him that much in these European tournaments, but I have known him for a long time, Optimus Carrot, and I just kind of forgot about him, but then I saw that he played in the qualifier against Fjand, and I was wondering if Fjand was going to win. Fjand did win, but he said he had an epic series. It was 2-1, and they had a 35-minute game 3, and I was like, I should really ask him. So that's how we got there. Great defense here, by the way, by Art. Art says, Roddy, sure, that shield battery can work against me, but if I just open up with a bunch of Blinky boys, I'll be fine. And he is. Yeah. What were the entrance conditions for the players? For the people who don't know, the BASILISK Big Brain Bouts is very simple in format. Every single Friday, BASILISK gives me $500 that I can give away across 4 matches. The first match is for $75, the second one is for $100, the third one is for $125, and then the last one is $200 in total. Then I just invite 8 players. They can let me know in the BASILISK Discord or my Discord that they want to play. And as long as you have a very clean track record, that you're a sweet individual, you can be considered. The first match most of the time is a bit more community StarCraft, so it can be for players around 4,000, 4,500, 5,000 MMR. From the second match onwards, the players do have to be at least somewhat great. We kick things off most of the time at 5-3. This time around, the last 3 matches are all very high skill level. I just wanted to invite a bunch of players that were close to making it into the European Spring Regionals but didn't go all the way. So, to get over the disappointment of not qualifying for the Europe Spring Regionals, I decided to invite at least 6 of them tonight and probably invite another 6 of them next week. And then the first series we'll keep on casual. We'll find a couple of community guys to open things up. Though double auto turret went down in the natural of Art as the Raven, a very versatile all-around unit. I would say that if there's anyone who does not need a Raven, it's Replicant, because he's very good in spawning DTs and observers. Has gone for it. It's obviously a great unit to arrest. Has gone for the 5 rack setup. Art knows about the fact that this is 5 racks. There are many moments where you would just when I gave... Oh, careful, we need to stim. We need more firepower. No frustration of Terran players was felt. Do we pull the boys here? Is this a moment where you say, F it, we're going to bring the boys to the other side of town? Because if we don't, we're going to have a hard time. Yes! Colossus on the way. The boys are leaving town. Observer in the center of the map is going to give Art a heads up that this is coming. It's 72 army supply against 52. The Widowmine drop wasn't great, but this is still a good old powerful Terran army. How close will these tanks siege up in range of important stuff rather? As the stalkers of the 17-year-old man from Russia trying to buy some time. There are no sentries. The Colossus is almost out. We don't have interference matrix. Battery overcharge is good in buying some time. Anti-army missile connects with the Zealots. The SCVs are kind of chilling, but the firepower of this Terran army is still really big. The force fields go down, but I'm afraid that that's almost a little bit too late. for those to be mega impactful. Like with a Colossus, obviously you're loving life. The problem is the tank count is pretty high. We've got 4 tanks in total. And a Colossus without extended thermal lens is not gonna have a good time getting in range of 4 tanks. I think Art will sacrifice this base, but yeah, do you love life then? Dark Shrine. 8.5 minutes into the game, losing a third Nexus. The man is casually dropping a Dark Shrine. Replicant does need to be careful that he doesn't bleed away too many of these Marines and Marauders. Those Force Fields I think are kind of sick. The Raven goes down. Could become a massive snipe if that DT Shrine comes online. If the Dark Templars ever see the light of day, this could be big. Replicant loads up 8 units in a medevac with 5 HP. And he actually gets away with it. Now the Colossus are in range of 4 tanks. One of the giraffes goes down. That's big. And he might actually spot the Dark Shrine too. He's going to stim forward, get 2 pylons immediately. Goes for the 3rd pylon. Now we need to get out. Don't pick up in that medevac with 1 HP. He won't. He gets everything out. Now he's going to find this base too. Stalkers did get warped in. Can they blink? Alright, Dark Shrine is about to come online, guys. How many scans are available? We have no scan here. We have 1 scan here. He throws it down immediately. Uh-oh. Well, Colossus comes out of the robo and it dies. DT gets warped in range of the... No, that's not a DT. That's a Zealot. So many tanks. Where are those DTs, though? DTs are running to the other side of the map. Art is going to try to win this game with the invisible guy. And Replicant has done a great job, but he could potentially lose this. This is the heads up. Can we raise the depots? Can we raise the depots? Yes. Do we have enough firepower to kill these DTs? He gets 1. He gets a 2nd. He's going to immediately drop a turret. Can we build turrets here? Do we have any SCVs left, mate? Oh, we need a scan. We need a scan so bad. 42. Oh, my goodness. When behind, Gold Dark Shrine has perhaps never been more true. Art with his DTs has killed a couple of these tanks that were otherwise invincible. Scan is available now. He could throw down a scan, but he does it in the natural. And now it's 2 base against 3 base. This base may become very hard to defend, but at least we have it. These guys are playing actually a 6 series, man. Art is still building Colossus. He does not have extended turbulence. He's got 1 out. He's building a 2nd one. Medevacs again with absolutely 0 energy. If you don't want to work hard in life, I would never ever sign up to become a medevac of Replicant, because I hope he pays them well. From 4 tanks we went down to 1. Scan goes down immediately for that first DT. He knows about the base on the right side, but probably feels that he can't do anything about it. Or he just wants to fight. Stalkers have sniped the tank. Immortal gets stacked. Immortal falls. Battery overcharge means that we cannot be here. We're gonna walk into a DT. That's annoying. He throws down another scan. Kills that one too. We need more medevacs though. He's thinking about maybe going through the debris. Drops 1 Marine. He's gonna stim it. I think he wants to give himself some info on how many probes are at this base. And he now sees that it's a fully saturated base. Art has actually taken a big supply lead off the back of all those DTs and forcing his opponent to scan over and over and over again. But he doesn't have like the sickest army ever. It's a bit of a ragtag army. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. No extended thermal lens. Getting a Ghost Academy. Replicant has a lot of gas. Marauder count is pretty damn healthy. At least has 1 upgrades. I don't think he ever built an armory in this game now. These guys are so evenly matched that even when we absolutely send it as a 2 base all in and we take a great fight and all the SCVs are on the other side of the map, it still turns into a macro game. This is the one observer that Replicant has not spotted yet as quickly as he spotted every other ops. He did just load up 1 medevac full of Marines. If he never realizes that there is an observer here, he's gonna end up losing this medevac for not a whole lot. Art obviously saw that pickup. I think he just, yeah, he just saw it now. I wonder if that makes him do something about this medevac. This has been here for a while. Art is looking for it. And Art has completely missed it so far. That's a little bit unlucky for him. A blink towards the top left. A blink towards the bottom across the bridge. Does not get what he's looking for. Legit turning into one of my all-time favorite BBB series here. It's been so fun watching these two. Still have no idea who's going to win it. As we have these Marines unloading in the end. Art is probably like, are you serious, mate? I saw you load them up. I looked for them, I scouted for them. And you still get in there and you kill a couple workers. That is indeed what has happened. Scouting Marine finds a pylon, as Art has warped in a single Zealot to save this pylon. I think it will actually... okay, we have extra Marines showing up. Now maybe the Zealot is gonna die too. Micro! That Marine did not have to die. Art still has no extended turbulence, guys. We mentioned it a couple times. The game has now kind of stabilized and has turned into a somewhat normal PvT. He's gonna have a very tough time taking a great fight with these two Colossus without extended turbulence. He does have a crazy amount of disruptors. His Replicant is floating over his main. Says F it, I'm just gonna go ahead and take the gold. And Art says, F it. Maybe that means that I can just go ahead and get into your natural. The ghosts are very exposed here. The tanks and ghosts. One ghost dies immediately. Second ghost, can it land an EMP? Yes. We have at least landed one. Colossus are going to have very little impact. That Nova did kind of connect. Alright, these a bunch of Dark Templars, guys, getting on top of the Orbital here. And getting on top of a tank. Man, what a moment to strike. Sensor Tower, 99% done. DT Skillet, the tank dies as well, as Replicant is wondering what should I pay attention to. He says, I'm gonna go full cuckoo, but how many times can you go full cuckoo before it backfires? Apparently quite a few. He gets a decent amount of them. Only a single Nova went off. It was a monstrous Nova, but he got a bunch of the Disruptors and he gets the Colossus too. Art has still not realized, guys, amongst the chaos of this game, of this series perhaps, that he does not have extended turbulence and he's rebuilding Colossus now. Loki, the highlight of the day. Art is up. A lot of supply, but I believe he could still theoretically lose this game if he does not realize that he's missing a couple of key upgrades. And obviously Replicant has the gold. It's a little oversaturated, but he's got the gold. Viking count after that previous fight is nowhere near as high as it once upon a time was. 7 of them did die. Art's economy is monstrous as he's gonna get in range with that tank and he kills that tank. The Nova misses though. Good micro. We have the Zealot run by into gold. I want to see how well it's doing. It's Zealots and Stalkers. That's a great move by Art. Means that he can actually kill that Liberator. And unfortunately for Replicant, he is going to completely lose that heavily oversaturated mineral line. 25 SCVs go down. And perhaps that will do it then. Wow, what a sick call. Yeah. What an absolutely sick call by Art to drop that Dark Shrine when he did. Felt like that wasn't really gonna come online and come into play to really have much of an impact, but it absolutely did. The force fields bought time, he sacrificed the base, he was able to keep this base alive, kept his main safe, and the DTs absolutely turned this one around. Maybe Replicant has one last chance of getting a good, strong, powerful army out, but I think he has just taken too much eco damage. Scan goes down, Dark Templar gets picked off. Art is here, guys, with 15 Zealots, 7 Disruptors, 3 Colossus, with or without Thermalence. I think this Protoss army with an upgrade lead should be able to do alright. The Zealots have been taken care of. The Stalks are going to blink forward. I think Replicant had a decent amount of forces still in his natural. If these units were there, that could have made a difference. But I think Art is just a little too rich. GG gets called after 18 minutes. An insanely well-timed Dark Shrine. He dropped it when he saw the threat, when he saw the move out. When the tanks were almost sieging up at the bottom of his ramp. Art said, DTs, that's my only way. And well, didn't really believe in them, but they were sick. Killing 3 out of 4 tanks. Otherwise, he would have never been able to kill all these tanks and the bio units protecting them. If Replicant would have just been able to get like 1 turret on the other side of the map, to give permanent detection for his tanks, I think he wins that game. Yeah, normally why would he build a turret there? There was no reason to build a turret, so can't blame him for it. A very fun game. It's a great series. $80 for the winner, $20 for the loser, as we're gonna hop into game 4 on Crimson Court. If there was ever a series that deserved a game 5, this one is it. I want to see it. I don't know why I got hiccups, but I do. Crimson Court, round 4.
Round 4. Fight.
Bam, bam, bam. An excellent performance once more by this 17-year-old kid from Novosibirsk. Unfortunately for him, did not make it into the ESL Spring Regionals, but he did have a good run. He made it into the close qualifier. And his second time ever in the BBB, he is looking great as ever. This is a Russian art from the Platinum Esports. I don't think anyone is talking about me, mate. I am not the guy that everyone is talking about. In the bottom left side of Crimson Court, we are looking at the main base of the man who has never played in the Big Brain Bouts before. And honestly, I am ashamed that I have not invited him in any of these previous 55 weeks, because he's a fantastic player and it's a lot of fun to watch him play. Hailing from Kazakhstan, it is a Replicant. Down 1-2, could have won all 3 games though. But they've all been very competitive. I think I've heard that as well, Mousy. I believe when I was a kid, my mom told me something along those lines. My mom told me a lot of funny things, though. Whenever I was little and I was like, Mama, I want to tell you something. And then something happened and she's like, so what do you want to tell me? And I was like, oh, I forgot. Then my mom was like, that meant that you were lying. And I was like, what? No, no, Mom, not at all. She's like, if you forgot about it, it meant it was a lie. And I was like, no, I don't lie to you, Mommy. I'm traumatized from that. Yep, if you do !B, same as any other tournament, you get a link to the Wikipedia page. You guys can see the matches of tonight. And then in the top, you can also just click back to like number 55, number 54. It is turning into a massive page with a crazy amount of information. The only thing that's missing is an overview of all the stats on that page. They told me that when my nose was soft, I was lying. You don't even know what that means? I don't know what that means either. Does your nose change? It transforms, mate? Goes from like hard to soft? It's a funky nose you got there, my friend. Moving on. The Replicant has a bunker coming online in the back of the natural of Art, and unfortunately for Art, guys, he hasn't seen this yet. And because he hasn't seen it yet, he hasn't built a shield battery here yet. The good news is that he does have a pylon, so I'd say you build your first. You can build it a bit closer, I think. But he says, Roddy, I built my battery wherever the hell I want. The problem is that I feel like this battery is almost so far ahead. I don't know if you can really heal up your units. Now the good news for the Protoss is that this is just single Reaper. You don't have to worry about a second Reaper. You don't have to worry about a third Reaper. I know, Charlie. I'm glad we all had a similar childhood, apparently, guys. Where silly things were said and we believed them as kids. Art is going to be able to take care of this. Replicant obviously in that previous game with how close that 2-base all-in was to working. Imagine if that first Widowmine drop, guys, would have actually done something. If he gets a few workers there. In what universe would he have not won that game? I don't think it's this one. And I don't think there are a whole bunch of them out there. Awesome 2-0 at Lambo, 2 sick games. That's awesome. Nice for the captain. I mean, he has been telling you guys for a while that Protoss is strong against Zerg. And at this point, I think every single Zerg is telling you guys that, hey, Protoss is strong against Zerg. Meanwhile, River HS and Sloppy Donkey are still like, Protoss only has a 33% win record in any other game above 4,300 MMR. And it's like, doesn't really matter, guys. Single Adept in the back of the main is doing a little bit more than it's supposed to. In the end, the Shade, it does not go online, or does not go off rather, and it does fall, but never really like seeing this kind of stuff when there are that many SCVs chasing a single Adept. It's just not that pretty. I wonder what the Replicant is cooking up here. It's just a double Widowmine drop for now, but the follow-up is a Liberator and a tank. Blink is done. Pretty fast, 4 minutes and 50 something seconds into the game. Not crazy fast, but it's just good to see that Art, despite the fact that he had to deal with that bunker. This could be bad for a Replicant, guys, but he's still gonna just send it, and he actually gets the first with a mine, he gets the medevac, and now he's gonna lose the Stalker. But this is a sick trade for Art. As long as he puts his probes back to mining immediately, but lose one Stalker, kill 2 Widow Mines and a medevac. I don't want to say that the Widowmine drop is dead as an opening, but whenever I see it these days, it does feel pretty underwhelming. It obviously was a little bit late. Maybe that's because of the bunker opening. Maybe it was because of that Adept that was being a nuisance. This is a weird army, by the way, to move out. Art is missing it, so I mean, this is just weird for both players right now. We have a bunker. The bunker is empty. Marines need to hop into it. There's also a Liberator. I mean, he just walks up the ramp, and Art's probably like, what, mate? You're here? With what? With that? And Replicant is like, yeah. And now that Lib in the main, guys. The Lib in the main has crazy potential. Stalkers come in from the back. Could just blink forward, but there are so many Marines that he doesn't want to do that. He's going to snipe the tank, blink back. Liberator is now sieging up. Is Art paying attention? Not yet. When will Art pay attention? The answer is now. And the Stalkers, by the way, doing pretty decent. Good job sniping that SCV before the bunker is done. Overall, a successful move out. Yeah. I mean, that was a success for Replicant. Even if I, in theory, don't love his build order here. But since Art, his Stalkers went down this side and the Marines and tank moved up this aisle. Look at this Liberator, by the way.
Justice reigns from above.
Great Liberator play, sieges up in the main, unsieges, sneaks into the natural, sieges up again, gets a few more workers and gets out of there. Well, looks very good for the man from Kazakhstan. But he's not there yet. Art is a 3-base Protoss, he's got Blink, he's got Charge, he's got a Robo Bay. So I think there is a lot of Starcraft still to be played here. Liberator did fly past his observer in the center of the map, so Art is going to be aware of it, and that's why he's sending 2 Stalker Rhinos to the top left side. Looking for that low HP. Wounded Liberator, I think is what we could call it. Been a very long series for a TVP. And it could definitely, well, I say very long, it's been a pretty long series for a TVP. Because we were a little bit ahead of schedule, and I would say at this point we are behind schedule, and this is starting to look more and more like we could go to the rubber match. And that is absolutely what this best of 5 in my eyes deserves. And in StarCraft 2 we don't always get what we deserve. If that was the case, guys, we would have had so many Protoss champions. Am I right? That lip from that previous push. I like how there's like these trees are so freaking high that units can almost hide underneath them. Never really seen that dynamic in StarCraft 2. Art is gonna see this army and he says, you know what, I'm just gonna fight. I've got +1 finishing up, I've got a couple of Colossus here, and if you don't have any tanks, I'm not that afraid of that little bio army. And he's right, but there is that Liberator once more that's gonna make justice rain from above, and he hasn't seen it yet. He sees it now. He saw it before the attack animation went off, but that was good. Does still end up losing 4 probes, make it 5, maybe even 6. No! Wow, did you guys see that? A Liberator shot went on top of a probe that went into the assimilator. I've actually never seen that. I want to go ahead and take another look at that, but first we have to focus on this game. I didn't even know that was possible with Liberator shots, guys, but apparently everything is possible. 8 Marine drop, but Art has warped in. 3 Stalker Rhino. Unfortunately for Art, he's not focusing on the medevac, and if he would have just done that immediately, it would have been a tiny bit easier to deal with this. But in the end, still good defense, barely loses anything. For all the compliments I have given Replicant, I think Art also deserves compliments because he is once more playing a really good series. He was very happy with the invite for the BBB for the second time in a couple of weeks. He's showing up. It is good. A while ago I had no idea that he was as young as he is. Makes sense that he's still getting a lot better. You need close to Subnet Command Center. I think I still overall like this game for Replicant. He's got a tiny supply lead. He's working on gulls. He's working on Vikings. It says, Ruddy, I'll work on the Dark Shrine once more. And to be fair, we do often say that we kind of think every Protoss that has a 4 base plus economy should get a Dark Shrine. These the rocks are different on the ladder version and the Ops++ version than the R&D ESL Spring Regionals. I really don't understand that, but I believe that Sinistro gave an explanation. If you guys could let me know what the explanation is, I'll see if I can actually get behind that reasoning or not. Apparently Replicant is having some ping issues. I forgot to ask them what ping they have to the European server. Don't know if I am a ref. I am not. I should ask them after this game. Because I was curious too. I just forgot to ask. I don't think the 123 stands for his ping. I think that's just him testing. Making sure that the internet is good. And it is! So we can continue. Unlike Alcyone, this time around, obviously Art did get all the upgrades that he's supposed to get. He's working with Double Forge. Kind of seems to always be his go-to. I haven't really seen him play very different than this, but I think it's alright. I think it's very among the lines of the meta. You open up Blink, you up to 3 bases, you get some Colossus, you get some Zealots, and you take the game from there. I believe a lot more in perfecting a style like this than trying to get creative with these Oracle builds that I just don't believe in. Oracle builds often work when the Protoss is a lot better than the Terran, and the moment that you're very competitive with your opponent, or maybe the Terran is a tiny bit better, I feel like Oracle builds just suck. That unit got nerfed a few too many times. They're both cleaning up pretty much all the debris and set of rocks that there still are. Stalkers are not going to be able to do a whole lot here. This is such a fortified position with the sensor tower. That's obviously going to give the heads up of where the Protoss army is at. Missile turret, tank behind the planetary. Sensor tower doesn't cover everything, but it will cover everything up to this circle. I don't know about this move by Art. Art is mega confident in his army as he's sneaking double War Prism into the back of the main. First Prism went down to a Widow Mine and a missile turret. Second Prism has made it in. The Replicant now having a pretty hard time figuring out what it needs to focus on. The Dark Shrine is going to come into play. Advanced Ballistics is not done yet. So maybe the double Prism, guys, as he just YOLO'd one into the mine, but the other one has made it in. Can be a bit of a game changer here, but I don't think Replicant is going to die anytime soon. Losing your armory would obviously suck. A ghost, drop an EMP. Second Prism goes down too. You don't want to lose your fusion core, but he won't. Honestly, it's pretty expensive what Art has done here, and he doesn't get a whole lot. Does land a sick Nova there on a couple of big bio units, mostly Marauders, but I think a couple of the ghosts went down as well. Overall, I would still say this was excellent defense by our Terran player from Kazakhstan. He saves the fusion core, he has taken out 2 War Prisms, he saves the third, he saves the main, he saves the center planetary. What more could we really ask for? And now Art is like, alright, I guess that means more robos. Upgrades are a little bit in favor of Art, I guess, as he has 3-1 and he's working on +2 armor and +1 shields. Replicant is not very quick with firing up 3-3, which I find a bit surprising because he's a very macro-oriented Terran, but I guess he really prioritizes getting those ghosts out, getting those liberators out, and he believes in that a little bit more than he believes in getting 3-3, which is okay as long as you do eventually get it. It's mega important. Yeah, but I think 2-2 has been done for a while now. He needs to rebuild the armory indeed. Liberators, justice! Oh, Art not paying attention! Art, my friend, what are we looking at? We'll fire a couple of Desperation Novas in the end. Oh, Art. I think he was busy finding a spot to warp in those 3 Stargates. Loses a lot of the big robo units. The expensive ones, a Nova. It's gonna buy some time, but he will lose one more Disruptor. Whew. I think the man was busy finding a nice spot to build all these Stargates. I don't know if this is the fight to take, Art. You've just lost a lot of your expensive robo units. We have a nuke potentially going down as well on the triangle base of Art. But first I want to see if a big Nova can connect. Novas have not connected. A nuke is going to land. The man has warped in a couple Stalkers. He sees it, cannot prevent the nuke. 5 probes and a couple of low HP Stalkers behind. Disruptors are exposed. We have one more popping. Don't know about running through all the circles, but Art says, well, Roddy, watch me whip, watch me Nene, I'm rich. Somehow that Disruptor shot did manage to go off, but the Liberators are wrecking every single Stalker. And yes, you might be rich, but if you lose that many units that quickly, all those Disruptors, Colossus, Stalkers are not cheap. As he blinks into the meat grinder again, we have a few Zealots showing up, but I just don't see how that is enough Zealots. The Replicant does not believe it's enough either, as he's gonna go forward, chases the Colossus, but is a tiny bit indecisive against that Purification Nova. And will that then turn into a game-saving Purification Nova, or does Replicant simply still have too many units left over, and is he too damn rich? We are about to find out. Not next week on Dragon Ball Z, but this week, as a nuke kills the Disruptor. I was wondering if there were more units. I mean, if Replicant spends his money, he's fine, right? Then again, you don't really want to allow Protoss stabilize with 14 gates and 4 robos. Like, it is important, I think, that Replicant keeps on attacking. Even if you're down in upgrades and your army is not as big as it once upon a time was, don't let a Protoss with this many bases and this many robos stabilize. Because before you know it, they have a little too much. It's 7 lips though. Justice!
Justice reigns from above.
Stalkers go through the circles. Disruptors are looking for flanks, but they are just a bit too far away. Great micro over here on the left side. Those Marines and Marauders win the fight. These Marines and Marauders win the fight. And the Replicant sends us to Game 5. Man, what a cool series. This has been very, very deserved that we're going to Game 5. I want to go back to that Liberator, by the way. I think it was this one, right? Look at this shot, by the way, guys. I have never seen this. Obviously, this happens with Widow Mines very often. Look at this probe. Not this one, this one. It's like, pew pew! I actually didn't know that happened. Like, pew pew! It's shot here. One more time. Look at this probe. This is the Liberator attack. And then suddenly it changes direction and it goes into the simulator. You can technically do the same for... Yeah, no, for Widow Mines we see it all the time. Like, I'm not surprised by that. But the Liberator attack animation is so quick that I feel like that is very rare. I think I've seen someone once upon a time attempt like War Prism Micro or Medevac Micro against Liberator shots. And if the Lib is far away, it's easier. But this one felt so close that it feels like it's pretty much direct. But apparently not that direct. 6 series between these two, Replicant and Art. They are both putting on an A+ performance. Only one of them will win 80 buckies. The other one will still get 20. And if it was ever very well deserved that the loser gets 20 bucks, I think it is today. Hello Statfest, by the way, mate. Good job yesterday. We had some fun. I was watching you and Loco. I think you guys did a good job. And a few times Statfest, I said something. And then like 3 seconds later, you said every single word that I said. And people were like, he's listening, Roddy. I was like, nah. Statfest is just a diehard. Statfest knows his stuff because he watches Starcraft 24/7. Alright, Replicant says that he needs a little break. That's totally okay. So apparently Replicant still had some lag issues towards the end, and what he's going to do is reset his VPN. I will ask them in the lobby. Can I get the link? They hosted, but they didn't get me in. I hope they didn't forget about me. After this series, guys, we've got a ZVZ between Mixu and Hate Me. That should be fun as well. So yeah, I'll just take a tiny break as well, because we've been going for a little while. I'll ask about the ping, and then we'll be back. Game 5, Ghost River coming up. One of the more competitive and close contested series that we've seen in a little while. And BBB often has very close Starcraft, but this is just a mega competitive series, and they're both playing awesome. Legitimately, I'm a bit of a fan right now of both of them, and I kind of want both of them to win, but only one can win. Alright, I'm back, and I believe that the boys are ready. They're telling me that they both get around 80 to 90 ping normally. So it's like 80, 90. Which I think is pretty reasonable, honestly, for how far away they live from the servers. But apparently Replicant does use a VPN, and sometimes when he doesn't reboot it for a while, it just goes up gradually, and he says it ends up sometimes being 200. So whenever it is 200, he needs to reconnect, and then it should be fine again. But he's aiming for 90, so they have very similar ping. Shout out to Blaze for the 20 months. Let's do it, guys. Game 5. Kind of wish both of them could win. Unfortunately, only one. That's competition. Really fun series. All the reason to invite these guys more often in the future. Art obviously won his first series and he looked good, but tonight he has to dig deep. Who is going to get the W in the second series of the night? We're about to find out. After this, it is ZVZ and ZVT, so we saved all the Zergies for last.
Let's get it on. Final round. Fight!
Let's do it. Top left side of Ghost River, the decider. We're looking in the main base of our 17-year-old Protoss. Trying to get his second W in 2 appearances in the BASILISK Big Brain Bouts. It's Art. Russian Art, not Polish Art. And in the top right side, for the first time ever, and I really have fumbled the ball a little by not inviting this guy earlier, because he is just a great player and it's really fun to see someone from Kazakhstan playing in this event. This is HTT Replicant. Has shown us a lot of variety in his openings as well. Has gone for the Widowmine drop in the last 2 games. Won the previous game, lost the one before. But the Widowmine drops haven't really done a lot for him. It's his micro where he makes the difference. And also the very quick transitions into those powerful late game Terran armies. The Ghosts, the Vikings. And obviously his great micro. I believe Replicant is somewhere in his mid-20s. He does have a Wikipedia page. He's got a picture. I think he's like 24 or 25 or so. He's been around for a while. I'm sure he does other things besides playing Starcraft, but he's damn good at it. Alright, goes for a very quick scout. I think just in case that there is no proxy barracks. That SCV was very close to falling. Actually 10 HP. 10 HP is not that bad. 5 HP is very scary. Then it's just one more. 10, you're safe. You've got all the time in the world. Replicant is going to play it safe and drop the CC on the high ground. Maybe feels that if he drops it on the low ground, this is going to be harassed by Adepts early on. Doesn't take very long for the Adepts to shade to the other side of the map. Throughout this entire best of 5, Art has shown us a lot of Adept into Stalker, into Twilight, which I would say if we have a meta opening in this matchup, that's definitely it. Good job, by the way, by Art in keeping that probe around for a while and then sending it home right in time. Just a little too early for this Reaper to actually catch up, so he has those timings nailed down too. Goes for a very early shield battery in the main once more. That is the one battery that I'm not that fond of. I think if you want to randomly open up with a battery in natural, it's completely okay. I don't think that hinders your build order that much. I think building a blind battery in the main doesn't make that much sense unless you've really scouted something that gives you the idea that you need it. But if he likes it, he can open up in any way, shape or form. On the other side of the map, Art has gone for a second barracks, a factory, and now a starport. So it's a bit of a 2-1-1 opening. I don't know if he's gonna get like mega quick stim. I guess this will always be a tech lab, but first it's just... Alright, Marines. Reaper gives up its life, gets a probe though, so it's something. If you are Art and this is what you've scouted, I wonder if you are concerned about a 3-Rex. Well, not anymore, because he just saw the Widowmine, and that actually is a very good scout. Just giving yourself the confirmation that your opponent has at least one Widowmine, potentially more, is obviously very useful. Marines are right-clicking, trying to get on top of the Adept to guarantee the kill, but Art is paying attention, he's going to move it back. And he will just continue. Try to see anything that is important. If he shades one more time, he should realize that the Widowmine that was here is gone. I don't know if he actually was looking for that, if he paid attention. The blink is 70-80% done, but this is a map where it actually doesn't take very long for that first medevac to make its way to the other side of the map. So if Replicant goes for it now, blink not done yet, and dealing with Widowmine drops if you don't have blink is a bit harder. Oh no, Art! Okay, well, it's bad, but it could have been even worse. We go for the on-burrow. The target. That's the double kill there too. That is by far and away the most successful Widowmine drop that we've had. And it's only 7, but 7 is obviously pretty good. The splash damage radius being reduced probably hurt him there, because I feel like that could have been even more than 5. The probes are kind of stuck, blocked by those stalkers. Stalkers should chase for this medevac, by the way. One more blink. I don't know if blink is on cooldown. It wasn't, but he doesn't go for it. Observer gets inside of the main. We'll see everything that there is to see. We'll see the tech lab on the factory. This is going to be hard for Art to deal with this. It's not impossible, but what we do need to do is buy some time with these blinky boys. We need to try to shave off a couple of Marines. There's no combat shield, so 4 stalker shots is enough to kill 1 Marine. The tank actually gets picked up. Stim is already done. Replicant is really telling us, hey, there's no time to waste. Let's go ahead and siege this bad boy up. Maybe battery overcharge is mandatory here. I don't know if we have energy for it. Couple sentries coming in, very exposed from the top. Art says we're just going to blink forward, because just getting on top of this and denying it as quickly as possible is the way to deal with these kinds of move outs. And yeah, that actually went very well. No charge, no problem. Not even a battery overcharge. We have, well, way too many probes on this gas, by the way. Rally points seem to be a bit messed up. That could have gone a lot worse. It actually went pretty damn good. Yeah, just had a little bit of everything. An Adept or two, a couple slow zealots. We had the sentries coming in, and they just blinked forward. Got an 8 Marine drop in the back of the natural. The stalkers are a tiny bit out of position. Replicant obviously did not grab every single unit with that push. He just kind of said, I want to have a quick move out with 1 tank, a couple of Marines with stim. But I'll make sure that I'll leave units at home as well. That early game battery coming in pretty handy here. And that medevac will fall too. Well, 10 probes, 3 stalkers for a medevac. 21 Marines already in a 7-minute game, and a tank. I think Art will be pretty happy with how all of this went in the end, as he has an observer here. I don't know if he saw that medevac leave, but I have the feeling he did. He's not indicating to us that he saw it. It's going up to 4 bases though, so he will get the scout with his Nexus. Medevac could see the Nexus before the Nexus sees the medevac. Well, not like that. Obviously like that, the medevac will be revealed. Art has seen it now. He's moving some units back. We're going to go for a Widowmine drop in the main. This is where the shield battery can really work against you. First Widowmine gets dropped and gets 3 probes, and we pause. That is a very unfortunate moment to pause. Maybe R2, just like a Replicant in a previous game, suffering from a tiny bit of lag. does give us a beautiful animation. This probe, guys, it's got a story to tell. This is box art right here. It's a lot of red laser lights. I guess this used to be a part of the probe. If we never get to unpause, it gets to live. I don't think that's quite how it works. You might wonder how... Record scratch? No. Alright, game gets resumed. We have one more mine though. Art is actually smart. Paying attention, puts the probe underneath the medevac, so the Widow Mine does a tiny bit of friendly fire. Replicant throws down a scan here in the center, because he didn't see any units and he was wondering if his opponent was about to A-move him. That is not happening. Art, his units are at home. It's kind of bouncing between the natural third and fourth. This is one observer that Replicant does need to take care of. This is gonna... Okay, that's a great scan. I don't even think he really saw it. I kind of feel like he just threw down a scan, figuring that it's likely there is an ops, but I don't think he saw it based on the marine movement. Spidey senses were tingling though, and they were right. This is not where I would build my cannon, by the way, because now all the probes, they need to go through the left or go through the right, which means they are mega clumped up, and you also kind of hinder your own income. Probes have to take a way longer route back to that nexus than what they're supposed to take. There's a fly in front of my face. Damn it! How did they keep on sneaking in there? The Replicant has snuck a pretty big Terran army to the other side of the map, and Art is not aware of this. Art's units are close, but not that close, and the Nexus will die very, very quickly against this many Marines and Marauders if there is no shield battery to heal it. There is no battery to heal it. Well, there was a battery coming online, but it wasn't there yet. And Art casually loses a fourth Nexus. Obviously a bit angry over that, as he's now going to try to chase this entire army down. If he keeps on blinking, he's going to force his opponent to keep on stimming. I still think it's a successful move out by Replicant. He's going to be happy with that. You're always going to end up losing a couple of units if you commit that hard on a Nexus. Cats is in such a dark mood today. Why is that, mate? I was obviously not listening for the last few hours, but I did saw Cats and BO cast the ZVZ of Rainer and Young Yakov. And then I watched game 3 of Battle B against Clem. That was actually a really good game. One hell of a series by Battleby. I didn't see him win a map, but he was so competitive in that third game. Nobody really signs up to lose a best of 3, but if you can play that well against Clem in this stage of the tournament, that to me would be a confidence booster where like, hey, I may not be totally there yet, but I'm almost there. Because Stafford and Clem, they don't really get in this season of the European Regionals, so Battleby has a chance of making one hell of a run. If his other matchups are as good as his TVT, we're looking at a player that could potentially break into the top 8 of this tournament for the first time in his career. We have an 8 Marine drop once more. Art has warped into defensive Stalkers. Medevac is a little low on HP. Good job by Art. Does not just attack move and start shooting at Marines. Guns down the Medevac with 6 Marines inside of it. Maybe not the best drop ever by Replicant, but hey. As this is pretty sweet timing, right before the sensor tower is online, right before the 4th base is a planetary. Haven't we seen that before between these two? I'm sorry to hear that, Jim Diggins, so I can't say anything about it. What I saw, I think was okay. I mean, it was very early for him. He lives on the East Coast, so the first series of the day starts at like 8, maybe not quite 8 a.m., but like 10 a.m. or something, right? So, I don't know when he went to bed. Hopefully our boy Cats is alright. So many Widow Mines there. Good scan as well, giving the heads up of where most of the Protoss units are coming from. Love the Sim City, the random depot to trigger some zealot aggression. The Vikings here above the rocks, guys, are sick. I think that's 10 out of 10 Viking positioning. Unfortunately for Replicant, this is happening right before 2-2. But with or without 2-2, he's taking a pretty alright fight there. And he killed every single Colossus, 3 of them going down. Your EQ? What is an EQ? TBD forever. Regardless of outcome, banger of a series here. Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't want to sound too much like a broken record where you guys don't take me serious anymore. I'm just like, they're so good. They're so good, guys. They played so well. I'm so entertained. But I really have been. I am mega impressed by just both players. I think they've done a lot of things well. And if you would hide the name tags, you'd think that you're watching two very big name players that are playing one hell of a series. They've had a lot of... Both of them just had great moments throughout the entire best of 5. The games have been very difficult to call. Even this one, I think Art is in the driver's seat here, but I can absolutely see Replicant take some great fights, as he has been taking great fights throughout this entire best of 5, and I believe he could still win this. I do not know what EQ is, but today I learned. Disruptors are a bit exposed on the right side. They only get a single Marine. That Nova has potential though, that was a good connection. But the Liberators don't really give a damn about connections like that. There are 2 Colossus coming in from the top left side. They're battling a single Marauder. That's not the fight they want to take. Once more, excellent micro by Replicant. Avoiding all these balls. Are derping a tiny bit with the Colossus. Now derping with the Disruptors too. I do think they would have gone down regardless. But clicking them back into the Terran army is absolutely not the way to save them. And this is exactly what I meant. Art has the bigger bank. Art has more bases. But I think Replicant has had slightly better micro throughout this entire series, and that's an amazing fight. And now he might just say, you know what, Roddy? This is my moment. I've got Marines, Marauders, Ghosts, Vikings, Liberators, Advanced Ballistics, and I've got +2 coming online. Art is going to try to buy some time, but it's such a terrifying... No, Art! Art turns his ball around and actually almost blows up half his own army. In the end, it's only 1 or 2 Zealots that went down. No, you cannot stand in range of this many circles. Battery overcharge is great, my friend, but it can't possibly be that great. Art with 2,000 minerals and 1,600 gas is in serious trouble. Now Replicant is going kind of away from the circles. Kind of needs to go back to the safety that these Liberators are providing. As 3-3 is about to come online. Art is the one with money. Replicant is the one with a terrifying army. Art has way more bases, but bases will not make these Liberators disappear. +3 attack, done. +3 armor, done. +2 ship weapons, done. Massive upgrades coming online here for the men from Kazakhstan. I have to apologize to literally everyone watching the BBB for taking 56 weeks to invite this guy. But what a hell of a series he has played. But he's not there yet, as Art is going to sneak out a couple Void Rays. And normally I hate Void Rays, but in a scenario like this where you've got all the money in the world, maybe it's an okay plan. Much better engagement this time around, but there are still so many circles. Disrupted dies, Stalkers are forced to disengage. Void Rays though, prismatic. I mean, Replicant's probably going to be like, what the hell, mate? Void Rays? It's like, yeah, and there's not that many Marines left. The Void Rays, can they ever save the day? How many Marines do we see here? It's 4 or 5, and that is good enough to at least take out the first 2 Void Rays. One more Disruptor, and it's a Replicant who wins after a 16-minute Game 5. What a series between these two. Man, honestly, a round of applause to both of them. I think Art played awesome. Replicant, fantastic. Really good late game army control. Great transitions into the Vikings, into the Lips, into the Ghosts whenever you needed them the most. Such a sick series. Wow. What a way to make your debut. You know, we gave him a bit of love. We gave him some props before the best of 5 started, but that was really impressive. Really cool stuff. Excellent. First time ever that we got a man from Kazakhstan, or a woman, in the BASILISK Big Brain Bouts. Should have asked him earlier. I'm very happy that he played this well. I'm also slightly embarrassed that I never reached out to him earlier. I should have. I feel like there are some great matchups we can make with him against players that are a lot more well known. And would be awesome for maybe some viewers from Kazakhstan. And we'll absolutely do that. You've never seen this guy in my life? Same, Sav. Like, that's the thing. He plays in the regionals and that's it. You just don't see him in any other event. But I do know that he's good. Because I had that game on Babylon that lives rent-free in the back of my mind. I'm like, why is he so good? Why is nobody talking about the Replicant? Why does it feel like I'm playing against a little liquid clum over here? But, yeah, awesome. Really cool stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and take a tiny break. By the time that I come back, it is time for Mixu versus Hate Me as our co-main event of the evening. $100 for the winner of that series and 25 for the loser. Two guys that were very close to qualifying. 24% of you guys believed in our men from Kazakhstan. A sick performance. Can only sing his praise. Number 56, Mixu, finish, Z. Hate Me, Austrian Z. Two guys that probably felt both pretty confident coming into the qualifiers for the European Spring Regionals. Unfortunately for Mixu, he ran into DNS in the upper bracket and Strange in the lower bracket. Hate Me got, I think, Drogo in the final round of the lower bracket. And he said, like, yeah, that sucked. I feel like if I would have gotten anybody else other than Drogo, I probably would have made it. I get it. Drogo is tough. But I think that Strange is also very tough. So both of them were close to qualifying for the big league. Unfortunately, they didn't make it. And that's why we invited them tonight to at least battle it out over $100. I'll take a tiny break. And by the time that I come back, it's ZVZ time. Hate Me versus Mixu. See you soon.